age goes up, fun goes down. It just doesn't have to be that way.
Riding in a golf cart with you
It's dangerous.
is more dangerous than running off a cliff with a stranger.
I thought I'd kill her.
You jumped off a cliff.
Welcome to the Grace Marriage Podcast. I'm Brad Rhodes.
And I'm Marilyn Rhodes. We're here to help you build a marriage that's stronger, more connected, and full of grace.
I'm Rick Dayton, joining Brad and Marilyn as we bring you weekly conversations designed to inspire and equip you to live intentionally in your marriage.
We'll share practical tips, powerful stories, and strategies to help you and your spouse grow closer and thrive together.
So whether you're just starting out or have been married for years, there's always room to grow. Let's do this together. This is the Grace Marriage Podcast.
There was a song that said, girls just want to have fun. Cyndi Lauper, everybody was singing it back in the 80s, right? But it's not just girls, it's guys. And in marriage, we all want to have that spontaneous fun. We want to enjoy ourselves. We want to laugh. I love being able to make my wife laugh, and the same thing goes for her. She loves to make me laugh. What do we do in our marriages to make sure that fun is part of that fundamental of our marriage? Joined now by Brad and Marilyn Rhodes as we bring you back to the Grace Marriage Podcast. You Cyndi Lauper fan, I could tell. I mean, when I was talking about that, you went right back
You
there.
took me back.
See, you went back and you're thinking of what she
School
was wearing
days.
for that video.
That's right.
Why is it, though, that, in this culture right now, sometimes where people are like, you guys are all having way too much fun. Keep it down, right? I mean, sometimes when we have fun, everybody else is like, wait a second, just chill a little bit, just relax. What's wrong with having fun?
That's right. It's so important because life is heavy and hard. And sometimes it feels so heavy you don't want to make the effort to have fun, but it's the very thing that you need to bring into the relationship.
And it's funny because as age goes up, fun goes down. It just doesn't have to be that way.
Age goes up, fun. So you're just saying that as you get older, you're not supposed to have fun.
Well, I don't know if you're not supposed to, but it just seems like you get more.
Or we don't.
You get more responsibilities. You get a little more tired. It gets easier not to have fun. There's plenty of responsibilities to fill the balloon. Mm-hmm. So unless you're really intentional about putting fun in your life and fun in your marriage, it's just going to become Groundhog Day.
And not necessarily in a good way.
That's
Not,
yep,
not so much. And we can go back to a Sonny and Cher song from that movie. What is it about? Do we get predictable? I mean, do we just get to the point where your idea of fun is to go see a movie, your idea is to go to a sporting event? So you know what? This is what we're going to do. Date night, we're going to see a movie, we're going to go to a sporting event. We're going to see a movie, we're going to go bowling maybe one night. We're going to go, sit in the swing. But there are three different things that we might do. And so it's fun, but it's also predictable. How do we keep it from becoming rote?
Mm-hmm. You have to be intentional. You have to sit down when you're not exhausted and make lists of things you'd like to do together. Brad and I do that. We do that when we do our Grace Marriage together. What are some things that we would like to do in the next few months? And we'll look at concerts that are coming around the area, events that are coming up, a comedian, or we'll look at just things that we can do, places I'd like to go hiking, thinking about the time of the year that are nearby that we can drive to. We'll just sit down and make lists or
just do some
things.
do some random stuff. I like what a buddy of mine said. He said, sometimes you need to do things you don't ordinarily do to remind yourself why you don't ordinarily do them.
Meaning going hang gliding because you're terrified of heights? I mean, is it that far to your comfort zone?
She actually did go hang gliding.
And
so that was fun. It was fun.
Did you not go?
No way. I was scared to death. I'm not running off a cliff with a stranger, but Marilyn did, and her parents wouldn't even talk to me.
That's a different thing.
So, no. You can't pass on this story. You just move on. You jumped off a cliff.
We ran off a cliff. It was the most beautiful thing and flew like a bird. It's something I've wanted to do. This dates me. But do you remember the Wrigley's?
Was it
gum
side by
commercials?
side? I mean, you were in a hang glider?
I was, yes, with
Okay.
him. He was doing all the work. I
Right.
just got to be
He
along
let you
for the
steer?
You
ride.
were a passenger.
I was a passenger. He let me steer a little bit, but yes, since I was a little bitty girl on Cartoon Day, the Wrigley's gum commercial of the hang glider, someday I'm gonna.
And you
do
did
that.
it.
No,
And I videoed her running off the cliff on my cell phone and just forwarded the video to my in-laws. And I wasn't thinking.
Right.
And
they were babysitting our 5 kids at the time.
and they
What was the response?
I've never experienced wrath from my in-laws like that. I mean, they wouldn't talk to me, said, we'll never watch your kids again. I mean, even now, years later, if I bring it up, the anger comes back in full force. I mean, it's like they can't. My father-in-law, he's one of my favorite people in the world, pulled me aside and I said, look, your daughter's adventurous. She likes to have fun and do crazy stuff. She goes, I know that. And you're supposed to protect my daughter. And you have 5 children. And then I realized we better leave her alone. But it's but there's a second part to this story. Marilyn did not get hurt hang up. But when she disappeared like 1,000 feet in the air with a stranger, I thought, oh my goodness, what have I done? Because when we got there, he has to sign all these papers and he's signed a liability waiver. And he says, this means you can't sue me. He couldn't sue me anyway because I owe $5,000 on my Isuzu. So it's no big deal. He goes, but I have been on Mythbusters. You know, I'm like, whoa, this is really safe. Yeah. So then after that, Marilyn actually got hurt that day, but not hang gliding.
So we were on vacation, and so we were staying near a nice golf course. And so after 4 p.m, it was cheap.
Yeah, right.
To golf.
Sure.
And it was along the coastline. I mean, the cliffs right there. It was so Brad, being the budget guy, thought he could get in 18 holes before dark. And I was riding with him in the car.
The time zone, yes.
And I took a book because we're on vacation. I always have a book that I'm reading when I'm in there. So I just thought, I'll just bring my book. And so he's trying to hurry from hole to hole.
Yep.
And I'm sitting and I'm not prepared. And he takes a sharp turn and I fly out of the golf cart. And I said, riding in a golf cart with you
is dangerous.
Is more dangerous than running off a cliff with a stranger.
I thought I'd killed her because I saw my ball at the last second and just, I'm in a hurry. I wasn't thinking. And I mean, her head hit. I mean, she had a bruise like 18 inches. I mean, all around.
Oh, really? I
mean, it was, I mean, we were just fortunate that it wasn't worse than it was. But yeah, it was, so that was all the same day.
Mm-hmm.
So that was,
and I thought we were going to talk about fun. I mean, I thought that's where we were going with all this.
She had fun hang gliding. I had fun golfing. Yeah. And she survived the fall.
I did.
There you go.
But it doesn't have to be big things. Like we've on a date have gone from fast food restaurant to fast food restaurant and got our favorite item at each place. And that was our meal. It was like a progressive dinner, fast food style.
So you're saying you go to Wendy's because you like their spicy chicken sandwich, but
yes,
you prefer Burger King French fries.
Okay,
right.
Actually, not Burger King fries, but that's okay.
Right.
McDonald's fries.
McDonald's. Yeah. You the same? I mean, are you on the same team on these things?
We pretty much, we had one piece of Long John Silver's fish, and then we had
not a healthy dinner, but it was a fun dinner.
It was fun.
Yeah.
And one time Marilyn made me do hot yoga with her, and that was fun.
He did. He made me. It was awful. It was a free trial.
How can we disagree on this? How is there not consensus on what happened?
It was.
She's right.
Planned the date, and I didn't know what we were doing. He said we're gonna go to dinner, so we went and had this big dinner, and then he said, "Okay, now we're going to do hot yoga," and I was like, "No."
After you ate?
After we had a nice big dinner. I'm like, "What? You get no?" And he was like, "It's already set up. It's scheduled."
I'd signed up for the free trial, filled out the forms, everything.
He's like, we're trying to do fun dates, and I'm like, "This is not fun. Like I'm ready to settle in." But I'm like, okay, I'm along for the ride. So we did hot yoga.
Did you know what hot yoga was when you signed up for it?
I got an email for a free trial, and we had, at our Grace Marriage session, we decided our dating's gotten boring. It's like, we go
Brad and Marilyn's dating.
Our dating got boring. We just like, what do you want to do? Then we go to eat, and then we just talk a minute, and then we stop by Walmart, and then we go home and watch 30-minute show. And we do that I'm like, that's not what we're teaching. We need to be more fun. Yeah. I said, so every date this quarter is going to be random. It's going to be different. And it's going to be memorable.
We're going to be having so much fun. We whistle on zippity doo dah, right?
Bam, bam. So what we did was I just got that free trial email, and I just signed up, called them, got us on the free trial thing, and I said I didn't know exactly what it was, but we signed up, and it was I think 125 in there.
Did you have yoga pants?
Actually, I stopped by. I stopped.
I'm sorry, I asked already.
I stopped by and bought me some on the way to the date.
He did. He actually
Is this true?
Did.
She did.
This is true.
And
did you have your own mat?
No, they give you a mat. In Maryland, you actually look good in those yoga pants. But we did. I got yoga pants
for the hot yoga.
I'm trying to scrub the memories and the thoughts that are rattling through my head right now. Other crazy, not crazy. That's crazy. Yeah. Other things that you've done that were fun. That going into it, maybe you didn't think were going to be fun. Are there other dates along the way that you've done that you said, you know what, I'm really not down with this one, but it turned out to be great? We
recreated our first date. So it's like I decided that let's just try to recreate our first date exactly like our first date.
Did you go to the same place?
Same place. And
okay.
So I had a ugly Ford Ranger, like turquoise. It was ugly. And somebody else now owned it. So I called the dude.
No, you did not.
I did. And I said,
did
look,
you really?
I did. I said, you care if I have my truck back one night? And
Seriously?
And he let me have it back. So we used the same car. We went to the same place. And the house I lived.
You're crazy.
But the house I lived in Nashville at the time, I was going to call them and ask them if I could borrow the house, and then I thought he's going to think I'm going to kill him. You know, he's going to think he's so.
Did the same guy buy your truck that bought your house?
No, but it was
Okay.
But it was really weird. We had quite a few kids, and it literally for a night felt like we had gone back. We'd gone like Quantum Leap or something. It was cool.
What was it for you?
It was really fun. It was really fun. I thought it was crazy when we pulled up in the truck that we had our first date in.
Where
Like,
was
what
your
are
first
we
date?
doing?
Where'd you go?
We had to drive to Nashville because it was in
Okay,
Nashville.
right.
And we hiked
In
on
that
some
truck?
trails. In that truck.
Yep.
We drove in that truck to Nashville, went hiking on the same trail
Yep.
that we did on our first date, and went to the same restaurant for dinner, and even sat in the same booth where we sat for dinner.
Did you have
on
to
our
wait
first
for a
date.
while to get that booth? Did you tell them?
We did a little bit. Brad told him, and we waited on that table and sat in the same booth, and it was really fun.
Did you order the same things?
I'm sure I did. I guess at the same
Brad?
salad.
You know, I don't remember what I ordered. I was too focused.
You wore the same shirt,
I was too focused on. She got rid of my clothes when we got married.
They were really ugly.
She thought it was
And
a
you
best.
still married him.
We had a garage sale when we first got married, and like all my stuff was out there.
It was.
She said I dressed like Garth Brooks.
So what, did you replace it? Did you help him replace it?
Matching striped shorts.
Brad, we are learning so much in this podcast. And for those of you who can't see it right now, Marilyn just doubled over and laughed at the table. But those kinds of things, I would imagine you talked about for a long time, didn't you? That particular first date you talked about for a while.
What people don't realize is you can not, with a huge expense, create memories that you'll never forget. I love what one author said. He said, if I pass before my wife, I pray that as she walks by my casket, she's just flooded with the fun we had together. And he said, so I'm always trying to think of things that would be memorable. Life it throws so much at you. There's death, there's sickness, there's this and that. I mean, there's a thing called the Play Institute. All kinds of studies show that play is, like one book said, play is essential. It's not optional. And it's something we need. And as believers, play is the easiest thing to get rid of because our consciences will allow it. It's easy to quit doing the fun stuff because we don't feel like there's anything wrong with not doing fun stuff. But the fun stuff makes us more interesting and more full of life to love everybody else well. So
Helps you love others better.
So play just has a place. And so if things get dull, I just try to do something different. I remember one night we had a rough couple weeks. It was just like everybody was sad. So it was like, I said, all right, tonight we're going to watch a movie. Then I'm going to grill at 11 o'clock. So I put on the charcoal and did brats and we had a big like late night party. And it worked out.
One of our kids threw up.
Our 5-year-old started just barfing like crazy at 2 a.m. So that was the downside of the fun. But, we just,
and usually one spouse, you can tell who's more fun in the relationship
I'm
with
tons
us.
of fun. You're no fun at all, right? That kind of line from a
No, but
movie,
Brad-
right?
she jumped out of an airplane and she skydived. That's more fun than me.
Well, no, but he really naturally has a mind that creates those ideas more, and usually one spouse is a little better at it than the other, and the one who is that's a gift you bring to the marriage. Don't begrudge if you're
That
if
the
you're
other
spo-
one's
You're
not.
that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
Some of us are more naturally wired that way, and he is that. And for our home, but there have been health crises in our home where I had a kid having surgery, another one struggling. I mean, we just had a lot going on. It was so heavy and fun being brought in, like him doing that, like grilling and trying to bring laughter. Laughter is good medicine. It is healing it's helpful. It's so helpful.
And in Grace Marriage, we have the groups. So you get to benefit from each other's creativity. Right. So if you've got 10 couples in your group and you've got everybody brainstorming.
Do you share dates? I mean, do you tell people what you're doing?
We all do. In fact, a lot of our good date ideas weren't our ideas. They're ideas.
My best lines are stolen. I mean, the funniest things I ever say were not originally Rick's. They were taken from somebody else.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to find ideas, especially, you can just, with the click of our phones, you can find an idea to do something. It doesn't take a lot of effort.
Have you had any bad dates?
Oh, sure.
Have you?
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, things that you thought were going to be fun and didn't turn out?
Yes.
Well, hot yoga. Would you?
That was definitely not.
We didn't finish that story. I mean, other than we got stuck on you and your yoga pants. I want to know what happened once you got there.
We did the yoga. It was hard because we had just had dinner. That's not what you want to do at the end of the night.
Right.
But we did it, and I'm glad I can laugh about it now. But no, it was not very fun to do hot yoga.
I'm a gifted sweater. So I mean, like I mean, like unusual. You think something's wrong with me sweater.
Yes.
And so when we did hot yoga, you take it.
So you made a moat around your mat, is what you're saying.
You take an unusually gifted sweater and then you put them in 125 degrees.
Right.
It is a sight.
Uh-huh.
It was I'm at a point where I'm not thinking I'm thinking I might pass out because you can't lose this much fluid and still function.
Right. So what do you say to somebody who feels like they're in a rut? But what do you say to somebody who says, we really want to do this. We're intentional about it, but we just can't seem to get out of our own way.
Just put something on the schedule to always look forward to together. I mean, it could be as simple as, hey, we're going to see this movie that's coming out next week that we're really looking forward to see, and just put it on the schedule. Always having something on the schedule that's fun to look forward to makes life a bit more bearable. So, and then when you finish one thing, just put something else on the schedule. It could be a bike ride. It could be borrowing canoes from somebody and going on a river. It could be taking bikes or borrowing bikes and going on a bike ride at a unique place. It could be driving an hour on a hiking trail you've never been. But keep something on the schedule to enjoy together, and don't let just life take you over.
And it's okay if it feels like work. I know that sounds weird.
Planning it or
Yeah,
the actual date itself?
It's work to have fun. It takes energy to have fun. And so often you might think this is kind of hard work to get to this thing. But at the end of it, you are glad you did it. There are times I'm going to do an activity and I'm tired and I think, I'm not really sure I want to do this, but then I'm so glad I did, because when you do a fun activity with your spouse, it is bonding. It does something for your relationship. So it's worth the work. Dating is work. I think that's why lots of people get tripped up and don't date and don't have fun, because they think it shouldn't be. But it is. It takes effort.
And even bad dates or bad memories, they're still memories.
They're the ones you laugh the hardest about.
I took Marilyn to
true.
I'm a budget guy, and I took Marilyn to Fiddler on the Roof. So I got the really low-cost tickets. And oh my goodness, it's like we were watching it from a plane.
We're on the roof.
I mean, we were watching.
It
It was like we got up there, and
You were the fiddler on the roof.
I'm normally fine with bad seats, but we got up there, and I was like, wow, this
They
thing.
were terrible. It really kind of.
And fortunately, I'd given it to my parents as a present. And fortunately, they didn't use them and gave them back to us, because I was so glad.
Can you imagine if your dad had those tickets?
Oh,
You'd have heard about it, wouldn't
I didn't
you?
realize. I didn't realize how bad they were till we sat in them.
There, yes.
We're so far away, we can't hear the band. Sometimes I think that, if we think it's fun for me, that it's going to be fun for my spouse. And that's not always the case. And maybe, does it make more sense to say what's going to be fun for them? I mean, I know that you all don't necessarily do that in your dates, but my wife loves to sew. She loves to go to quilt shops. She loves to look at fabrics and things like that. I can tell you, I've been to a fabric store in every single state we've ever been to, because she loves, when we're in Texas, finding fabric that is uniquely Texas. Or if we're in Michigan, she finds something that's the Great Lakes, and she'll make things out of that are gorgeous. I loathe sitting around in a fabric store looking at bolt after bolt after bolt of fabric, but she knows that I'm going to go sit in that chair and I'm going to do something else and read my book on my Kindle. Well, she does that. And at the same time, we have gorgeous things in our house that are memories of those trips, of things that she has made after we've gotten home. It's something I know she loves doing. It's not on my list of things to do. So maybe we're a little bit different, that we're saying, okay, well, I'm going to do something. Take one for the team, maybe is a phrase that we've used before. Let her do something that is really important. I wouldn't call it a date. Does that fall into that or not?
I know she feels so loved when you do that. Brad could.
As long as I don't complain about it.
As long as you don't complain about it, right. Brad is not an arts guy. Right. And I love the arts, and I also love art, going in an art museum or when we're in a city. And Brad, it's like a foreign language to him, just like musicals and things. But when he goes with me and watching him watch me, it's hysterical. But I feel so loved, the fact that he's willing to walk in. We have such different interests,
right,
that it's really almost comical. You could say we don't share a lot of the same interest, and but I have learned to enjoy sports, and he just like you probably enjoy seeing your wife so excited about the fabric she's finding.
Yep.
And you were sharing something last night about a table that you went and got for her, and I mean, that's when you love your spouse well, it's good for your relationship. So Brad goes lots of places he wouldn't ordinarily go. I have gone to way more sporting events than I ever dreamed of, and I've learned to enjoy it because I love
But you also love being with Brad. You love being with your family.
That's
you love
right.
being able to share those memories together, right?
Right. So it is getting out of the box of something you wouldn't ordinarily
And
do.
you do
times.
both. You just do both. We've talked about it before. You take turns picking the dates, and you do things Marilyn would love. We do things I would love, but we do it together. And there's things that Marilyn loves that I don't enjoy. There's things I love that Marilyn doesn't enjoy, but we do it together, and it's good for our marriage.
Before we wrap up, how do you balance spontaneous versus planned? Spontaneous versus planned. That, you know what, let's just go do something. You know what, I'm going to go ahead and clear your calendar this weekend. I got a babysitter for us. We're going away. I packed a bag for you, and here we go. It doesn't have to be something big where you go stay in a 5-star hotel and you drive off to, to Carmel on the Sea. And you see what I'm saying? It doesn't have to be that. But sometimes that can be really fun too.
You have to consider one another. So that early in our marriage, Marilyn loved spontaneous and unplanned. It was fun.
I do love surprises.
But we started having kids. So I surprised her one time, and she hated it and said, I don't like surprises because I need to get ready with the kids. I got to get everything in order. It really stresses me out. So a lot of it's discerning what honors your spouse. If your spouse loves to look forward to something and is less spontaneous, plan it ahead and tell your spouse. If your spouse loves spontaneous, do spontaneous. The point is you're trying to love your spouse. And if you're a spontaneous person, but your spouse likes planned, you don't do it at her expense.
Right.
Do you agree, baby?
It was, and we are moving targets depending on the season of life we're in, because I do love surprises. But when Brad's not the detail guy, so he didn't take care of the details of the kids, but hey, pack your bag, we're walking out the door. I'm like, whoa, did you, we got it. And now it stripped my gears. And I'm like, okay, we're in a season of life.
They would have been fine.
Exactly.
There are lots and lots of lessons to be learned from this episode, and I hope that you'll share it with other people too. I hope that you are looking at this and saying, you know what, fun does need to be a big fundamental of your relationship and a big part of your marriage as well. You want to know more about what Grace Marriage is all about? Come back next time and make sure you share it with other people. Subscribe to it so you don't ever miss an episode. Rate us very, very high so others will be drawn to it as well. It's all those computer analytics, but you know what? We got to make sure that other people can find out about grace and getting more grace in their marriage as well. We can't wait to see you next time on the podcast right here from Grace Marriage.
Thank you for joining us on the Grace Marriage Podcast. We really hope you're feeling inspired to take intentional steps to grow in your marriage.
If you enjoyed today's episode, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend. Your support helps us spread the message of grace and reach even more couples.
And if you have a moment, please leave us a review. Your feedback means a lot to us and helps others discover the podcast.
To learn more about how you can grow in your marriage, visit us at gracemarriage.com. Keep building stronger, grace-filled marriages.
We'll see you next week on the Grace Marriage Podcast. Until then, keep growing in grace.